desire for the return to blessing. When defenses are fallen and the walls are broken down and lay in a ruinous heap, we withdraw to the solitary place. There were times when it would have been very easy and almost a natural thing to become so utterly crushed in spirit as to fall into the slavery of heaviness, to give up and make the best of miserable circumstances. But God, our Lord, would not have it so. He means to bring out such a people or person from despair with a high hand and an outstretched arm. When their sighs and cries come up to his ears, he stretches out his hand to deliver. In the solitary place, with searchings of the heart, we discover a choice. And coming out of the solitary place, we make the choice. Who we will become. What will be our human nature. And despite the destruction which led to it, we are accompanied by a kind of gladness. It would have been easy to lay crushed in heaviness, and perhaps we did for a while, until there came a hand to deliver, and we were brought to choose our nature, either humbleness with goodness and sweet release, or else bitterness, reviling at it all. If we say in the heart, "What is the point of doing any good?" then we find no hope in love. If we cling to what is good, then all things have meaning. But if we wrap our fist around craven desires, we are snared, twisting and tormented. There is no rest. But opening the hand, surrendering it all, there is a rest for the soul. Letting go, trusting in him who gives all good things freely, the maker of all good things, to whom all things return. The gentle preacher tells how, leading with empathy, the young king's heart, which was tender, for he feared God, was ready to break with anguish to think of the misery that would come upon his people on account of their sins. Then there came a glorious reformation. The king had empathy for the people, a heart like God for the return to blessing. With great searchings of the heart, he sought the good of the people. And of that resolute leader, Nehemiah, the preacher tells, he was a patriot, a man of nervous, excitable temperament, and a keen sensibility for God's honor. And when his soul had felt great bitterness and longing, then he arose to build, and a blessing rested on his efforts. How to lead with empathy? Hate what is evil, cling to what is good. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Honor one another above yourselves. The resolve to lead with empathy comes from the nature we choose, formed one decision at a time, resolving to do or be a certain thing or way, and each decision, followed by another, forms a journey and moves down a road, either to good or to destruction. It is the nature we choose that matters. The problem of sin is not simply that it breaks the rule of good, but that it draws away our nature into ruin, away from good and from love. Love builds, bitterness destroys. Love nourishes, strengthens through empathy, and displays the nature of God. Bitterness refuses and reviles against good with cravings contrary to his nature. It is the tender heart, ready to break with anguish, to think of the misery that would come upon a people on account of their sins. It is the nature of Jesus himself. Sometimes it is hard to hope in the Lord. He is so great, and we are so small. He is glorious light, a sea of shining waters, and small on the shore, we hide our eyes from his brightness. We are small and petty in our disagreements with God. Is this sin? Is that sin? The small thing we cling to, feeling we ought to be more religious, is not our trouble. The problem is the contrary nature within us, resisting the idea of giving up our right to ourselves, to choose what we will have, what we will love, and our eternal outcome. The world is fallen, its walls are broken down. Out of the heat, with searchings of the heart, comes the desire for the return to blessing. It opens a road for each of us to the new nature, to him whose nature is goodness and life.